and welcome along again to another Panto podcast. Thank you once again for all your support and all your shares as well that you've been doing. So many people listening now. One thing I would ask you though in this new year, if you could just share this with a couple of friends who you think might be interested in it, and we could really try and grow the community. But back to this week's podcast, I meet Johnny Mack. I went to go and visit him up in his dressing room in Glasgow, and we talk all things Panto, how he got started off, how circus is a big thing for him, how nerves can get the better of him, and also how he got his big break by sending a few emails. I'd just like to apologise in advance for anybody whose email inboxes may start getting a bit full up from budding young hopefuls. So please enjoy Mr. Johnny Mack. Well, I'm backstage today with Johnny Mack here. Hello, welcome along to the Panto podcast.
Hello.
So, Johnny, just finished a performance there,
Yes.
and you've not even broken a sweat.
Are you joking? I have to change my t-shirt in the interval.
Okay.
So, but yeah.
You're not looking bad.
Thanks very much.
For that.
I'll take that compliment.
That's okay.
Well,
I know you're a listener to the podcast, so thank you very much for that. First question I always ask people is, what was your first introduction as a child into theatre?
it would be Pantomime. My birthday actually is the 29th of December, and it was always a treat to come up to Glasgow. So I stay about 30 miles outside Glasgow, but my mum and dad would bring me up. We'd go to McDonald's, and then we'd go and watch the pantomime. And then I always remember that. So that was always the birthday treat. And I actually remember when I was a kid, we actually got on stage. It was with the comedian was looking for people to come up and do the laughing policemen. And I got picked to go up, and it was an Aladdin actually, because we went up and whoever was the best at the end of the show got to come up on stage and hit Ebenezer over the head with Mallet's mallet. Which for the younger members, they won't know who Timmy Mallet, what the Mallet's mallet was, but yeah. So I got to do that. So and I remember that the laughing policeman thing happened in the first half, and I remember my dad taking me to the toilet in the interval, and loads of people going, "Well done, you were great, son, brilliant, that's fantastic, great." And so I was kind of starstruck and taken aback by that, and then I got on stage and got to hit Ebenezer over the head with a mallet's mallet.
Was that your first ever experience of standing on stage?
Yes. Yeah, that would be, yeah. And then I did school shows. I'm primary 7. I sang A Hole in My Bucket. Which actually was an embarrassing story when it was on my first ever CV as well, and any other skills, and I had that on there, and my good friend Liam told me I had to take it off because that's not what you should be sending out to people, that you sang Hole in My Bucket. And I was like, but I did sing Hole in My Bucket. He was like, yeah, but you don't put that on a CV. I was like, okay. So yeah, so that was me.
As a comic then, were you a funny child?
Yeah, I kind of come from that kind of funny family. My mum and dad are not in the business, but they should be. They're always kind of cracking gags and doing things like that. And I was always kind of interested in theatre. When I was about, I think it would be 12. I was playing football. Going to football training, etc. And then one summer I went and joined the local youth theatre. So we did a show, a kind of summer school, which was a kind of 2-week thing. So you rehearsed for a week, and then the next week you put on the show. And I remember standing on stage then. That would have been after my Mallet's Mallet star performance. But yeah, I remember the show starting, and I remember the silence and the curtain going up and being on stage when the lights came up. And then I joined the local youth theatre down in Kilmarnock, and then met my best pal Liam. And I didn't get, because youth theatre was on a Saturday, so from about 12 to 18 I went to youth theatre every Saturday, and to stop so that I could still go to the youth theatre, I didn't get a Saturday job, but we started doing discos. So we were doing discos and puppets and magic round for kids' parties, school discos, weddings, you name it, we did it. And that meant that we didn't have to get a Saturday job and we could still keep going to the youth theatre. So again, that kind of helped my performance skill, I think, for kind of 2.5 hours of entertaining kids.
And kids, are they an important part to you for the audience?
1,000,000%, yeah. I definitely. I think it's if it's the child's first memory of coming to a theatre, and certainly I can takes me back to that time of being asked up on stage, and I can still remember various things about pantomimes that I saw over the years that stick with me for years to come, and still now. So, and I hope that that's kind of what I want to do. I would love that, in years to come, someone would come up and say, I remember I was on stage with you when I was like 7 or 8. So yeah, it's really important to kind of create that memory for the kids, and there's nothing better when doing pantomime, as you can tell. I just love it because the whole family can come and they can all laugh at different things, and they can all take something away from it, and to hear 1,000 children laughing at something that you're doing, it's a great feeling.
You certainly were whipping them up today, I know that. Deafening.
Yeah.
Deafening they were.
Yeah, it's because I've got the kind of... I'm like a child, really. I'm like a 5-year-old, I think.
Yeah?
or so everyone tells me.
What do you do then that makes you sort of smile now? Just on a personal level, what's kind of your thing, your childish sort of nature? Do you have anything like that?
That's kind of... I'm not sure, really. That's a good question. But yeah, I kind of love... I love like clean comedy anyway. I love people that can make you laugh without having to swear, and that everyone can be involved in. So, I really, when I'm doing stand up or stuff, I kind of go for that market, because I think you can reach a wider range of audience.
So you don't sort of have Lego on your Christmas list or anything?
Oh,
like
I used to. I had a Star Wars advent calendar.
Did you?
Yeah, big Star Wars advent calendar. Yeah, that's what I love. Yeah, big Star Wars fan. Yeah, so yeah.
You're still in touch with your inner child, though.
Oh, definitely. Yes, yes. I'm like Peter Pan. Never grow up, or try not to.
Best way to be.
Yeah, exactly.
Best way to be, because the way you were out there with the crowds today, just unbelievable. The energy that you portray on stage. What's your routine for a day's performance?
I think that you have, especially playing the comic role, that you have to bring that energy, and I think certainly nowadays with as life has moved on, and we've got the internet and YouTube and kids, to even take it back 15 years, it's kind of changed. So, but you have to bring that kind of high energy, excited performance, especially the part that I'm playing of the idiot. No acting required, but you have to kind of bring that. So preparation, I'm usually in the theatre about an hour and 15 minutes before. I've got my little speaker there that I've kind of put music on to kind of get hyped up, or to get in the mindset. Maybe run over a couple of kind of wordy routines or kind of fast recap stuff, and then. But I think if you love what you do, it's not really difficult to get hyped up already. For me.
Do you get that sort of buzz when you're walking into the theatre?
Yeah,
still?
yeah. I mean, it's kind of no exaggeration. It's to be here at the King's is a dream come true. As I say, kind of grew up going to pantomime for a birthday treat. Then kind of graduating from that. Kind of youth theatre, then into doing TIE, going around the schools with pantomime. So kind of up at 6 o'clock in the morning, staying in accommodation kind of 2 hours from schools, then driving to the schools, getting there at 8 o'clock in the morning, unloading the set out the van, setting up in the kind of school hall, doing a show, packing it down, putting it in the van, driving to the next school. So I did that for 4 or 5 years with a Scottish-based company, and we toured all over the UK, but then doing various different theatres down south, and then I was in Edinburgh at the Pavilion, in Glasgow, SECC, and being here. So kind of to be performing in your home city is the thing that dreams are made of, really. You know, I think if you asked my kind of 11-year-old self, my mind would explode. But so it's I feel very lucky. And just the walk from my house down to the theatre, when you walk down and you still, you know, especially with the Kings as well, the history of the people that performed in here, for me, you know, the Gerard Kelly, Ricky Fulton, Jack Mulroy, Stanley Baxter, you know, real Scottish royalty of pantomime and entertainment. So to even of being able to stand on the same stage as where they were, and also hopefully give a little piece to the kind of King's panto history is, of course, it's an amazing thing. It's crazy. I can't think about it too much.
You get emotional.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's crazy.
You mentioned you've even got his picture up on the wall.
Yep.
Gerard Kelly.
Yes.
Sadly went a few years ago.
Yeah.
Quite unexpected, really, wasn't it?
It was. Yeah.
And it seems like, as a person who watches a lot of Panto every year, it seems like you've sort of fallen into that kind of position that he was in. Not obviously fulfilling the role that he did, but kind of that position of, you know, the child's friend, the whole sort of silly Billy character. Yeah,
I mean, no one could ever replace Gerard Kelly. He was, you know, fantastic. What a performer. So I feel very lucky to be able to perform in the same theatre, but no one could replace him. I'm just doing my thing. and that's the thing, and trying to have that connection with the audience, and you know, to be in pantomime with the Kings in Scotland is a big thing. You know, there's a big responsibility to deliver a first class show. So there's a lot of thought that goes into it, and from my side, and I'm very well aware of the kind of the pressure that to deliver. So that's probably where my excited energy comes from every performance.
You can't let him down, can you?
No, well, exactly, no, and even if I forgot for 1 minute, as you say, there's a poster of him in here, so I know exactly what level I need to be at, or try and achieve.
It's a baton that you're now holding in a way.
Yeah, of course, it is, and that's, I just want to do him proud, the King's proud.
Did you get to see him much?
I saw quite a few. I saw with Elaine as well. I remember one that sticks in my mind when they did A Sleeping Beauty, and they were both, there was a scene where they were both babies before they kind of grew up, and I thought that was like hysterically funny. But Gerard Kelly, pantomime, absolute legend. Yeah.
You mentioned earlier about the touring,
yes,
going around schools. How was that?
It was great fun, fantastic. I kind of left secondary school and applied to a few drama schools, but they didn't want me, and also I couldn't afford to go. So I went the other kind of route of had an agent at the time, and I was doing like small extra work, and they phoned and said, there's a TIE company, a theatre and education company, that want to are having auditions. Do you want to go? I was like, yeah, I'll go. So I went there, and I was doing my hires at the time. So I was in my last year at school, and we did. So I went to the audition and I got the job, but it meant I had to leave before I sat my hires. But the great thing, to my mum and dad's credit, they let me leave to go and do to let me go and do the contract. I mean, they had the conversation. Are you sure this is what you want to do? Maybe you should wait and sit the exams. But they gave me their blessing, and I haven't looked back since. So yeah, I went and did that. But it's a great kind of grounding, and kind of to hone your craft, or certainly to work on that of performing to 600 rowdy kids in their school hall, and that's the thing, that when you, even if you have a kind of tough day or a tough show or something nowadays, you look back and go, well, you're not up at 6 o'clock in the morning and you're not putting the set up and you're not taking it down and you're not living, hundreds of miles away, in a farmhouse somewhere. It's kind of like the Big Brother experience sometimes when you're on those kind of tours with kind of 5 other people, So but yeah, the experience was great. I loved working. It was M&M Productions. I worked for it must be, I think it was about 10 years on and off. So I certainly did. I did lots of the tours, and then I moved into the office, and I wrote a couple of their shows. I directed some pantomimes for them, and yeah, it was great. And some of my closest friends that I'm still in touch with is from that time. So yeah, it was a positive experience for me. I don't know if I could go back and do it now, but
Where did the catchphrase come from? I'm enjoying myself.
I'm enjoying myself. Yes, so that came from when I was doing stand-up gigs around the clubs and the flyback stuff for Thompson. So if I've had 3 or 4 gags, and a gag that I knew wasn't like a 10, if it was maybe like a 7 or 8, so then I would throw that catchphrase in, and it seemed to get a reaction from the audience, which was great. And then when I was at the Pavilion Theatre up the road, and we were, I was talking to the theatre manager Ian about the show, and he was saying, what stuff have you got, stuff that you could put in, which was great. And then I kind of sent an email of ideas, and right at the bottom I said, and I've got this catchphrase, I'm enjoying myself, and just exactly what I've told you, I put it in when the gag's not a 10, and he said, right, okay, and then when he did wrote the script, and then he put in the I'm enjoying myself, and it just took off. It really kind of, it was, the reaction was great throughout that show. And then at the end there was like a rhyming couplet, and however the rhyming couplet was written, and all I had to do was step forward and say, and I've enjoyed myself, and the place used to go absolutely crazy. So I was like, I think I've got something here. Yeah, I've got something. So, and ever since then, I've used it, and there's t-shirts, and yeah, and that I love it when you're kind of out and about. You're in the supermarket, and somebody walks up to you and they just go, "Are you enjoying yourself?" And then you're like, "Oh yeah, of course, yeah." So yeah, it's nice. I love it.
Little did you know it would take off so big.
Well, no, I didn't. Yeah, I know. It's yeah, I love it.
Has there always been this desire to make people smile?
Yes, definitely. I always, as I say, my mum and dad are hilariously funny and great. But I've always wanted to entertain and make people laugh, make people enjoy themselves. But yeah, that's always been. I think I've kind of always had that in me. I remember my when I did my sister's party, kids party, and I must have been, I don't know, 13 or 14, and I remember my mum saying to me, "Well, you're so different when you get that microphone. You're like, so you come to life," and that's always stuck with me as well. So, yeah, I always want people to be laughing, yeah, because I think that, kind of what's going on in the world now is, there's some awful stuff. So if I can kind of give them 2 hours of thing that they can forget about everything else, then that's basically my job, you know.
You sure did that today. I know that. Them
Thanks,
kids were so noisy.
Yeah, I know. The different kind of with a school show, you kind of have to pitch it slightly differently as well. But yeah, I mean, it's and that's what I love my role in pantomime. I don't know if I could be a baddie or I want that, or you know, someone that can't talk to the audience. I like to break that fourth wall, and you know, we're all pals together, and let's all go on the journey. So I want them. I want to be part of their gang. Yeah, you know.
What makes you laugh then? From a child, and even now.
I guess people would say old school comedy, but I love, you know, sitcoms. I mean, Still Game, the Only Fools and Horses. I loved Some Mothers Do Have 'Em. Michael Crawford, fantastic. You know, my stand-up comedians, I love Russell Kane, Mickey Flanagan, Kevin Bridges, Billy Connolly, of course, and yeah, I think that's kind of what entertains me. Yeah, makes me laugh.
And what about as a child? What were you watching then?
As a child, I was watching the A-Team, but I don't think that made me laugh. I wanted
some of the acting was laughable, wasn't it?
Don't you say that about B.A. Baracus? She's fantastic. As a child, I loved Cannonball. Saturday night, I remember like Saturday night used to love, you know, if it was the Generation Game or Strike It Lucky, Noel's House Party, Mr. Blobby. I mean, the slapstick stuff is just, you know, brilliant. So that kind of, but I kind of remember like a Saturday night TV was the sit down with everyone, and I think maybe that's that. I wonder if that's where the pantomime, like the love for pantomime of my family all being together at that time. That I think if that's maybe ingrained in me, of like all the family sitting down and seeing, you know, mums, dads, grannies laughing, and me going, you know, thinking that these people were hilarious, but
kind of heroes.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Like Billy Pierce, fantastic. I remember watching, and I still watch his Royal Command performances and the Children's Royal Variety on YouTube, because they're just absolutely fantastic. Definitely a hero.
How did you get then involved with professional panto?
Yeah, so professionally, so I went for the audition for M&M Productions. I didn't get in the first year because this is an embarrassing story again. But I went for the audition at the Air Gaiety, and you had to sing a song which was on tape. That's how long ago it was. It was a tape, so I sang "Great Balls of Fire," probably not very well. And then it was a bit like an X Factor audition. So I was stood on the stage, and the panel were kind of 3 or 4 rows back, and the managing director said to me, "Oh, so what part do you want to play?" I was like, "Oh, the comic part." He was like, "Okay, can you tell me your favourite joke?" And I was like, I don't know. He's like, "All right, just tell me any joke." I was like, I don't know. He's like, "Okay, thank you." And I came out, and my mum was there, so I was like, definitely have not got the gig. But then I went back, but then someone dropped out of one of the tours, and then I got a phone call. Went there, then was there for say at that company for a few years, and then I got a phone call out of the blue from Davy Halford, who is a promoter, and he said that Danny Adams and Clive Webb were looking for a comedian to do a holiday park circuit, and would I be interested? I was like, yeah. So I went down and met Danny and Clive, and then did that contract for them. And then in the meantime, then I was sending out CVs for pantomime, because I knew that's what I wanted to do. I took off Hole in My Bucket, and then I got a phone call from Charles Vance at Charles Vance Productions, and was asked to go to London, and went down to London, and then I had a meeting with him, and he said that he looked at my CV, and because I'd worked with Clive and Danny, then he would employ me. So then I went and did pantomime at Crew Lyceum, and I did 2 years there. And then I went to Belfast, and I went to Derry, London Derry, and did pantomime there. And then from there, went to, where did I go? Oh, the Airgate for Dougie Squires. So again, Dougie was looking for a comic to do the summer season, so the Airgate summer season is a kind of big tradition up here, and so he gave me the job as the comic in the summer season, and then I did the pantomime, and that's kind of when I started kind of in the Scottish scene.
Do you find the audiences south of the border very different to the north of the border?
I would no, I don't think so. I think my performance is different. I guess because I have to speak slower, so my timing is slightly different. So as a Scottish accent, which is usually quite aggressive, especially kind of down south, you kind of have to slow things down. So timing for gags and things, you almost have to take like that extra half beat, and pronunciate. Whereas in Glasgow, I can just speak how I speak, how one speaks. So that's.
Today was a caption performance, and I'm not going to lie. A couple of times I did look at the screens.
Yeah.
I did have to. I'm not going to lie, because it is like kind of a different language, literally a different beat though. The way you're actually talking, it's just and it's just and a couple of times, because for the listeners who don't know, every now and then they do caption performances.
Yes.
Please tell us what's a captioned performance. It's like having live subtitles, really, isn't it?
Yes, exactly. So so it's basically the script. And then the audience can read it as they go.
It was interesting as well watching the script and how much you added in as well.
Yeah. I'm still trying to learn that. So.
You're only halfway through now.
Yeah, I know exactly. Yep, exactly. But yeah. But how was the fast recap on there? Word for word.
Yes.
Whoa! Wow.
Yes, it was, and that was
wow.
Because the fast recap. How on earth do you start even learning something like that?
Yeah, people ask me that. I'm not sure. The great thing is that I get to write it, so I can kind of dictate what it is, and usually it's overwritten, and then when I get to rehearsals, I speak to the director and then say, what do you think here, and also speak to Elaine as well. And then we kind of try and condense it down to bits, and then I start to learn it. And it does usually take me the entire rehearsal process to get it.
So do you find yourself doing much rehearsal at home for that sort of thing?
Yes, yeah. My suffering wife has to sit with the script, and I have to go through it. And then when I get it to, when I'd say kind of performance level, then she'll video it, and then I can like listen to it, learn it, and it's more about the breaths, and to try and get the gags in as well. So because that's what I try and do, is try and give enough funnies so they can laugh along, and tell the story as well. But yeah, it's not. Yeah, it kind of takes a couple of months, I would say, to perfect.
Are you quite hard on yourself when you watch back any video performances?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I'm quite very hard on myself. Yeah.
In what way?
I get tremendously nervous before the show. When we're now about kind of halfway through, so the nerves are manageable. But I mean, kind of rehearsals and the first week or so, Cams, sponsored by Cams. Kind of take that, just because you don't want to let, again, I talk about this, you don't want to let anyone down. There's a lot of stuff riding on you being funny, the audience liking it, and hopefully coming back or telling their friends. So, I always want to be the best, and people will only come and see it once if it's not good. So, and it's their one time a year for either starting Christmas or enjoying Christmas or getting to the end of the holidays, and it's their treat, and people are spending a lot of money to come and see it, so you want to give them as much of you and the best version of the pantomime as you can. I kind of don't want to let anyone down, basically.
What a lovely thing to say. It really is lovely. What was it like working with Elaine for the first time?
It's fantastic. She's the one of the best people that I've ever worked with in any show. She's Elaine is a massive star and the Queen of Pantomime, and she's so giving as well. The great thing, I never knew her up until we started working last year, but within the first day, because usually first days are sit down and you have to read through the script, and I'm never good on a first day, because you kind of, at that point, if somebody goes, I tell you what, do you not want to do it? I'll be like, all right, I'll just go home. But because you always go in and you're meeting new people, and then you sit down and you read the script, and my character is so kind of over the top, exaggerated, and I work on that energy and kind of being moving around all the time. So you go in at 10 o'clock and you say hello to people, and then you have to introduce yourself, and then you sit down and you read the script, and it's very hard to just kind of get that across in the read through. But the great thing was, sat down, did my opening speech, and Elaine was laughing, clapping, saying you're fantastic and it's brilliant, can't wait to work with you. And then last year was a joy, this year's a joy. And the great thing about her is she's so given. In rehearsals we'll be doing a scene and she'll go, that's a really funny line that I've got, but I shouldn't be saying it, you should be saying it, so you take the funny. And I'm like, wow, there's not many people that would give you the gag. And yeah, she's always given, I can learn so much from her, but she's been so nice to me, so helpful, and it's a joy to be on stage as well. We're basically within scenes, we just want to make it as funny as possible, so it's not about, okay, you stand over there and I'm going to step forward and I'll say the funny line and then I'll come back and you just feed me the gag. So we're both in it together, and I hope that comes across on stage. But she's an absolute joy to work with, and sees little things that that you can't see when you're performing yourself. She's like, see, if you just say that like that, you'll get a bigger laugh. Absolutely right. So she's great to work with.
On the way up then, did you get much help from other people?
There was, there was, you can always learn from people that have been around and in the business, and I'm still learning, and always happy to learn. But yeah, I've done various shows that people have helped, summer seasons as well, working with Simmons and Simmons, double act, Peter Piper, watching Clive and Danny as well, and kind of double act stuff as well really helps. Always learning.
Would you ever consider being part of a double act?
Well, I am kind of at the moment. Most of my stuff. So I do. I'm at the Hippodrome in Great Yarmouth, which I'm coming into my 10th year. And for people that don't know, it is a circus building in the round that is the most amazing building that you've seen. So kind of, again, magical. There's something magical about the venue, and within the show, I've got a double act partner, Jack J, whose family own the building, and he is the kind of ringmaster compere, and I'm the sidekick. So I've been there for 10 years, and we now do not only the summer season, which starts on the 1st of July and finishes on the 15th of September, which is every day, 2 shows a day, and then we do a pirate show, which is over the Easter holidays, so like March, April time, and then we do a Halloween show, which is on for kind of 10 days, but we write the shows together, and kind of it's kind of double act stuff that we do in there, and also then I'm part of a show, the Francine Josie show. So for people that might not know them, they're they're kind of the Scottish equivalent of Morecambe and Wise of their time. They were absolute superstars of their day, and they were on a show, the 8:05 show, and then they sold out theatres and summer seasons and that. So, but we, myself and Liam, my pal, we do a recreation of their routines that we got permission from the writer to do. So that's kind of double act stuff as well. So yeah, I'm kind of in 2 double acts. Really.
Do you find you're more nervous coming on as a solo, or when you're with as a double act? Do you find yourself a little bit more relaxed?
No, I don't know. No, I enjoy the freedom of being a solo, because then it's just your responsibility. I also enjoy the double act as well, because then you have someone, if something doesn't land or it's not working, or you can come off and be like, oh, why, or try it this way or try it that way. But either way, I'm happy as long as the people are laughing. It doesn't really bother me.
Any favourite part of the show?
This show?
Any show really that you do?
Any of the set pieces. I love doing the slapstick stuff. And when you get, we do, and here we've got the wall routine, which is kind of a kind of famous Panto routine. And I love when you get routines like this, because it's a gift. I say it's bulletproof, because I feel that you could put anyone on there and it would get laughs. So then it's just the little bits that you might bring to it that can help get your character over.
The little tweaks.
Your little tweaks, yeah, or your kind of little spin on it. So, but yeah, I love doing kind of the set routines. I love the song sheet. When you can get kids up and chat to them and kind of make them the stars. And again, going back to kind of how I think that seed was planted for me is a really good thing. I love the how it can, it's not rehearsed, so it's just you and them, and and they can be they are the stars. So it's all about kind of lifting them up to get the best out of them. So enjoy that. Always enjoy an opening routine. There's not much there's nothing I go, oh, do I have to do that? There's all little bits. That's why
Even
I love
a slosh scene.
I love a slosh scene, yeah. So down in Great Yarmouth we do there's a water routine. So the theatre is in the round, and it drops into a swimming pool. So, but the precursor to the pool dropping down, we have a water routine. So every day, twice a day, we get absolutely soaked. So there's a bucket of water going everywhere, hoses, water pistols, the whole shebang. So yeah, I love it. Yeah, I love it.
Sit a few rows back then if you go.
Well, yeah, and also I watch Clive and Danny do the slosh routines, which they're fantastic, just amazing, just brilliant.
What do you do though if you're not feeling the greatest? When you get like the winter snuffles or sniffles or...
I mean, as you can probably see as we're sat in my dressing room, I've got lots of kind of like natural honey and lerb, Jakeman's, vocal zones. There is times you carry on. The show must go on. I'm kind of that ilk. You don't take time off. I had food poisoning once in Crewe. We were doing the show and I was very ill, but I had kind of buckets at the side of the stage, and you still go on.
I've heard that before. But
that's the thing though. It's it's not. You're kind of integral to the story, as everyone is. But I mean, it's very hard to, say to someone else, all right, can you go on and just do what do the routines like that, because it takes weeks for me to get it. So to then drop it on someone else. So yeah, no, I'll go on while there's still a breath in my body.
So what about song sheets then? What's been your favourite song sheet moment with the children?
I don't know. I don't think I could pick one out. It's when you get that magic of when when the lights come on in the kids' eyes, and then they're like, they're kind of shown off, and they give you the answer. They might be 5 or 6, but they give you an answer like they've definitely been here before, like they're like, 30. And you're like, oh, how, I don't know if I could pick out. I don't have one that's absolutely stands out. It's when you get that magic, and you can just almost sit back. That you're not, all you're doing is holding the mic and just letting them either, when you ask them, you always throw in the, how old are you? Are you married? And and if every now and again someone will go, yes. Like, oh, okay. Any kids? Yes. Where are they? And then they go, oh, no. You say, oh, did you leave them in the house? Yes. Those kind of, but those kind of like magical things that you can't rehearse, and it's and especially as like a comic, that you I kind of thrive on that uncertainty of what's going to happen. It could be fantastic, or it could not be fantastic. So, and it's up to you to kind of navigate them and make the and when the kids do, like, kind of almost, as they say, come to life, but really like start showing off or whatever. But that's satisfying, because I feel that through that 2 hours that they've got to know me, and even though they're stood in front of 1,700 people, that they still feel enough confidence to be able to express that, or kind of show off, or have a laugh, and be like within the story. So yeah, that's the kind of, when you come off and you've had one that's great. It's a great experience.
Today there was a little girl and she was flossing, just completely unexpected.
Exactly, yeah, and it's those kind of things that you just, because I'd interviewed her, and then they go and stand at the side, and then I was interviewing one, and then I could, you can hear the laughter, and I'm turning around and she's flossing, and then stops when I turn around, so, and then turn back, and then she does it again. So, but that's, to make them feel in that safe environment that they can do that, and and they're getting that laugh. They don't know that they're doing it for laughs, I don't think, but it's great. It's great. Yeah.
How did your involvement then come about with Kudos?
So I was, my first experience of Kudos was when I went to see Clive and Danny in Newcastle, and it was Cinderella, and I remember I'd seen lots of pantomimes up and down the country, but I went to see this in Newcastle because I knew them. They said come and see it, and I was absolutely blown away. I just remember the beginning of it, and I say the stage was completely in darkness. There was a little bit of smoke, the fairy came out, did a little speech, and then there was kind of dancers wearing kind of white costumes. And then they kind of walked to the back of the stage, and within a blink of an eye, it was a village scene, and we were in this. And for the next 2 hours, I was pretty much transfixed. And I must have been early 20s when I first knew Danny and Clive, and I just watched it. I felt like a 5-year-old, and for days after, I was like, that was the best pantomime I've ever seen in my life, ever. So I've found Michael Harrison's email address and emailed and said, hi, I've seen Newcastle and I just thought it was the best thing, thank you, it was amazing, I'm kind of still thinking about it, etc. And then he emailed back within the hour and was like, oh, I'm so glad you enjoyed it, thanks for coming. And that's kind of how we started to be in touch. And then I was doing pantomime at the Gaiety in Ayr. I was doing a Jack and the Beanstalk at the Gaiety in Ayr, and I kept in touch with Michael back and forward, and then he phoned me and he said, have you got a show tomorrow afternoon? I was like, oh yeah. He's like, okay, the theatre manager from the Edinburgh Kings is coming, and so is Paul Elliott. He said, I can't make it, but they're going to come along and watch. Okay.
So the nerves were happening then, weren't they?
Yeah. So spent the next 23 hours on the toilet, and then they came to see it, and after the show came backstage and said, loved the show, do you want to go to Edinburgh Kings next year? And I was like, yes, please. So went to my first Kudos at Edinburgh Kings. It was an Aladdin, and then I did the next year, which was Robinson Crusoe. And then I didn't do pantomime next year. I went to Great Yarmouth and did the Christmas season. And then I came back and was doing, I did 5 years at the Pavilion. And then I was kind of back in touch when I was just speaking to Michael as most pantomime seasons, saying, "Oh, I'm going to see this one. Is there any chance of getting a ticket, or I would like to see this, or congratulations on whatever review it was." And then my pantomime had finished, and I was organising my kind of schedule, and I think I'd been to see one of the pantomimes, but anyway, and then Michael got in touch and said, I might have a job for you. Do you fancy coming, or are you signed up, or what's happening? And then we just kind of started to talk, and then I was offered to go to the CCC, and I was given a 3-year contract, and I basically got the golden ticket.
Never looked back since.
No, I've never looked back, and it was great. That year was great. Marty Pello was Abanaza. Ed Curtis directed, which was fantastic, and I just had a great time. Just as the scale of, because it was 3,000 seats down there, but what they put into the shows is the effect with the twins, the effects, the choreography, the time of the script. I think it was kind of went down to London and kind of spoke to Michael June time about the script, kind of, which was really nice as well. So you kind of come with ideas, and it's like, oh yeah, we can use that, or no, we can use that another time, or what about this, or and it's the creative process is just kind of great. And I say, how do you manage to do all these pantomimes? It's like, and he's like, because I love it. It's just, I love it. And that kind of is, kind of working for him and them. It just gives you that kind of inspiration and how that you want to do well. Like you want to do your best. So it's like that's how it got started. Is that the answer to the question?
That's
I'm just talking.
That's wonderful. Also sounds very lucky.
Well, yeah, I know. Don't worry. I pinch myself most days about it.
Would you put a lot of it down to luck, being in the right place, right time?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. It's got to be in the right place at the right time. Yeah, I mean, luck. If I'd never had the phone call from the promoter, Davy Halford, I would have never met Clive and Danny. If I'd never met them, I wouldn't have got the gig at Crew. And if I hadn't done that, then if I hadn't met them, then I would have never have met Jack at the Hippodrome in Yarmouth. So, and if they hadn't got their summer season at Butlins, I would have never have got into the Hippodrome. And if I hadn't been to see Newcastle, I would never have messaged Michael. And yeah, I know, I'm such a lucky guy. yeah.
Like a domino effect.
It is, yeah. I didn't really even think about that, but yeah, it is. It's luck.
Still being reasonably young, have you thought about starting penning your memoirs yet? Before you forget them.
Well, yeah. No, not yet. But it'd be good to. As I'm talking to you, there's like stuff coming back. Maybe I should start keeping a little diary or logbook.
Try it, because when I've interviewed some people and they say, especially after recording, there's that a lot of pantos sort of blur into each other.
Yeah.
And whilst they're very important, but they say, I can't remember the leading role in this, or right. I can't remember the fairy, and they're literally racking their brains afterwards, and a lot of people feel very disappointed they can't remember these things and wish they had kept a log. Right. So
well, maybe I should. Well, yeah, my mum keeps all the programmes and all the press cuttings, but I've not got them. She's got them, but it'd be good to look back at some point and kind of remember. Because as I say, as I'm talking to you, there's stuff coming back.
Well, that's kind of why I wanted to create the podcast as well, so that
And
we've
it's
got
great.
a Snapchat. Thank you.
It's a
but
great listen.
It's just to have that little Snapchat, that little. That's me being down with the kids,
Yeah.
but it's that little snapshot of Panto life at this particular period in time.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
How can Panto for you? How can Panto sort of evolve to the next level? Because you're sort of pretty much top of your game at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, Panto will always reinvent itself, and still hopefully keeping those traditions, and that's what I think that Michael and Kudos have got right. They've, you know, and with Ed as well, that they bring all that kind of, you know, the best performers with the best costume set, lights, effects. I mean, that, you know, I've done pantomime with 3D. We've done it with, you know, this year we've got the flying carpet. Last year we had a car that went over the audience, and you know, it's all about hopefully that every member of the audience can take something away from that. And I think it just has to still keep going. It needs people who are passionate about the art to make it the best that it can be, who are committed to doing it, and want to be there, and to keep that alive. I mean, it's been going, you know, for centuries. So yeah, I mean, it really, yeah. I mean, I think we're in a really good place with it at the moment.
Do you go and see many Pantos?
I do, because come January I get the Panto blues. I don't know if other people have spoken about it, but when it finishes, because if I could, I would do Panto all year round. That's that good. So usually after, so we finish on the 6th of January this year. So, and then, as I say, I put together a little Panto schedule, and then try and go and see the ones that are still open, and see kind of people who I think are kind of top of their game. So, Clive and Danny, Billy Pearce, Matt Slack, Julian Cleary at the Palladium, and any others that are within that I can see, and I love it as well, because I kind of get that, oh, it's over, and what's, you know, what am I going to do now? But then on a Tuesday you're in, you know, Birmingham. Tuesday afternoon you're in Birmingham, and then again there's like 2,000 people in there having a fantastic time. And you're like, it's like 9th of January, and you know outside is kind of snowing or grey or raining, but the magic for that 2 hours again is, you know, you've kind of taken somewhere else. So that's what I love as well. Love it.
Do you find yourself ever as well, before a performance, curtain twitching, seeing what the audience is like?
I do. Yes, I do. With this, I do this one. I come to the side and just have a look at the front row, just on one of the sides, because of who we're going to, because we have to pick someone. So, and it's always good to. I think there's nothing worse than going on and really just leaving it to chance. You know, if you go out there, like for example today, if it's with the schools audience, if you go out and there's like no teachers sat in the front row, then you know, then it kind of throws you off your game, because you spend the kind of 2 minutes before you pick the person going, all right, who have I got? Oh no, I can't actually really see them. So it's always good to kind of have a little look out, but once you're on, you actually can't see that much here, because the lights are so bright.
Do you like picking on the teachers?
The kids love me picking on the teachers, yeah, but yeah. I mean, again, that's again great comedy fodder if you get a teacher, you know, and it's a big school, you know, you kind of, you know, I don't think the teachers might not be too happy, but it's all in fun. But you know, it kind of. Again, it lets the kids into the show, and it lets them. It's me and you know. So, yeah.
It's that fourth wall, isn't it?
Exactly, yeah. And that's the great thing about panel. Then that's what I love. And I love going out and going, hiya, pals, and you know, 1,700 people shout back, hiya, wishy.
Apart from pantomime, then, do you ever go to the theatre much?
Yeah, I do when I can, but I'm kind of lucky at the moment that I don't get a lot of time off. Yeah, if I can, I do. But I'm trying to think the last time I was went to see Young Frankenstein. That was good. Going to see Hamilton when we finish, when I'm down in London. But yeah, I mean, I've got friends that are in shows that if I can go and see them, you know, it's great. And I like to. I saw one of the boys. It's Paul James Corrigan, who's playing the Imperial Guard. He was in Sunshine and Leith. I went to see that, and he was fantastic, superb. So it's always good to go and support your friends, and go to the theatre as well. It's nice to sit out in the auditorium as well. I like that. There's a lot of, like, as you say about when I go and see different pantomimes, it's quite nice when in January we go and you sit out and it's like, oh, this is nice. This is maybe what they were thinking when they came to see us. So this is okay. I quite enjoy that.
What would be your advice for any young people trying to get into the business
of pantomime?
Pantomime.
See as many as you can, and kind of don't be afraid to learn from people that have gone before you. You've got, you know, kind of pantomime is an art form in itself, so you kind of really need to kind of study the craft as well, and I think you can only do that by seeing kind of live performance and see what works, what doesn't work, kind of where you feel that you fit in, or what kind of makes you laugh, or do you want to be the baddie, do you want to be, you know, the prince or the princess that's singing, etc., you know, kind of the musical theatre side of things. Yeah, and don't be afraid to ask questions, or kind of to people I've been in shows, and I don't think there's anything that kind of maybe TIE or, you know, go down that route and see kind of how it is in front of just kids. That's what I would probably say, I think.
And now it's that final question.
Oh no! I knew you were going to ask me this, and I do not have an answer for you.
I've only I've never really accepted that from anybody, so I'm going to have to pressure you for an answer. But your dream panto, alive or dead? Obviously all our listeners have heard this so many times, I don't need to go back into it. But dream panto, dream theatre. Would you like to be in the audience or on stage?
Well, I don't. This makes me.
I thought you'd have been prepared.
This is the opening night. I feel sick. I mean, it would have to be here. I think the Kings, but there's so many great. But as kind of Billy said as well, there's been so many great people that I've worked with over the years that I would love to work with again.
What production would you like?
Aladdin. Let's go Aladdin. And so we're going for people that aren't performing, or
we can go for whoever you want.
Oh, thank you. All right then. So Beat the Kings, Glasgow. Aladdin, and I feel like I should have a team A and a team B if I was in it. If I wasn't in it, Wishy, Gerard Kelly, Twanky, Stanley Baxter, Abanaza would be for an all-star cast. Put Marty Bello in. I loved working with him, he was great. Aladdin, title role. I know he's not Scottish, but Danny Mac, I think. I saw him in Cinderella at Birmingham. Thought he was fantastic. Looks like an Aladdin. Yeah, he was fantastic. Jasmine. So many talented people.
There are.
There isn't just so many. Who's a Jasmine? I think I need to go on to Jonathan Kiley at Kudos for the casting.
Yeah. You can leave it there if you want.
You think? Yeah. I mean, yeah. Yeah. I think, yeah. There's so many great people involved. I mean, like, I would have this cast I'm in because everyone's so good. I was trying to do it if I wasn't in it. You know what I mean? But because then there's so many people that I'd want, and I'd want Elaine to be in it as well. Elaine's twanky, yeah, and well, I'm going round in circles here.
Just shows that how many talented people there are, and
it does. Yeah, and even though and before we even had this interview, like for a couple of days, I was like trying to think of who I would have in, and it's pretty impossible. Well, yeah. Well, I think it is, but yeah, I don't know what we do. It's very hard when you're in it, or when you're in the thing, and you know. So I've worked with some great people. Yeah, is that a cop out?
we'll let you have that one.
Oh, thanks.
Thank you so much, Johnny, for your time and being part of the Panto podcast.
Thanks very much. Thanks for having me as part of it. It's a great honour to say that I'm going to be on it. Thank you.